Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tolu, and on this channel I share content all around personal finance, budgeting, frugal living, and I show you how to live your best life on a budget. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is another budget recap video. So I'm going to be talking you through how exactly I got on with my July 2020 budget. So I do a zero-based budgeting method. I did a video at the end of last month, or should I say at the beginning of this month, walking through my budget for the month of July, telling you all about my spending plans. I'll link it at the top of the screen if you want to go back and watch that before seeing exactly how I got on with my spend. In that video, I basically walk through my budget, tell you all my spending plans. So now you're going to see all my spending results in this video. So if you haven't yet done so, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and without further ado, I'll get into the numbers for you right now. Okay, so if we jump right into the numbers, opening balance, as I mentioned in my budget walkthrough video, it was minus £323.22, and that was an overspend from the month of June, which is why we started a month in the red. Our opening balance is deducted from the total that we have available for our income before we then allocate all the money to our different expense categories. So moving on to the expenses categories. Food, we had a budget of £200 and I ended up spending £209.46. So that was an overspend of £9.46. Guys, I don't know if you understand how happy I was with that result. This is literally the closest I've actually got to sticking to my food budget for the month since lockdown started and since I actually started sharing these budgets online with you guys. So I'm really pleased with that result, although it wasn't the £200 which I had budgeted for, to just go over by £10, which is 4.3%. 4.73%, shall I say. I mean, that's a result in my opinion. So moving on swiftly to takeaways, and we didn't spend any money from the food budget on takeaways this month. That's not to say we haven't had takeaways, but it just didn't come out of the food budget. It actually ended up coming out of our spending money, which we had allocated for the month, which you'll see further down in this budget. Moving on to our home category, briefly. Our home category expenses were as budgeted. So our mortgage, we paid on time. Our mortgage overpayment was £500, which I mentioned in the budget walkthrough video, and council tax came out and it was £132. So home was literally bang on the money, which was great. Moving on to utilities, and again, our water bill came out and it was £32.85, which was very much on the money again. And then electricity and gas, again, that was as budgeted. So the total, once again, was bang on the money. So we budgeted to zero very well in our utilities category. Moving on to giving, I've mentioned this so many times in my videos, but for the benefit of anybody watching for the first time, I don't talk about exactly how much I give in terms of my offerings and things like that, but I do like to give to my church and to charities and to family and friends in need. So yeah, we do we do like to do a lot of charitable giving. So I just don't think it's necessary to really disclose how much of it we do, which is why I blacked that out. Moving on swiftly to, what am I doing? Yeah, moving on to the next category, we have subscriptions. Okay, so now we see a little bit of variation here. So TV license, 1p lower than estimated. I don't know why that was, but it is what it is. Google Drive, that came out on time and the payment was the same, £1.59. Spotify and my husband's mobile phone bill, that came out and it was as budgeted. My phone bill, for some reason, came out a little bit above budget. I think actually I know why that was. I think it was because of a few picture messages that I sent, which were outside of my allowance. So that's how I was able to go over on my mobile phone bill. Moving on to the next category, we have internet, and that was £26, and that came out on time as budgeted. So Canva was a few pennies lower than budgeted actually, and that's because Canva's paid in dollars, so the dollar amount is fixed, but because we pay in pounds, depending on the exchange rate, it can be higher or lower. Moving on, we have Audible, and that was £7.99. So looking at the totals, we can see here that we actually ended up overspending slightly by £3.55, for the month, which is not too bad. Moving on to the next category, and we have transport. So transport was a little bit off. So we budgeted £70 for petrol. We ended up filling up the tank, which cost £66, and then we had £4 left over. Car maintenance, the part that we had to get fixed, we got that fixed, and that was £37.95. Moving on to the next thing that we have on our transport, and that was parking, and that was £2. So we didn't actually allocate any money to parking for the month of July, but we did end up spending money on parking. Or should I say, I ended up spending money on parking, and that was because I went to the market for the first time to get my fresh fruit and veg. I'll actually link a video to that haul that I did actually when I bought all the fresh produce from the market. I'll link it at the top of the screen here for you guys to have a look and go watch that after you finish watching this. But literally, when you go to the market, you have to pay for parking. So I usually allocate money to parking, but because I hadn't been since the beginning of lockdown, I never needed to do that. But now that we're going to be going back to the market, I'm going to make sure in next month's budget I actually make allowances for parking in the budget. So when you look at the total, you can see we actually underspent in the transport category by £2, which is always nice. And then moving on to fun and entertainment. So what we see here is the money that we had allocated ourselves last month, obviously at the beginning of the month from our redundancy pay. We had allocated ourselves this spending money. Now, neither of us, actually I tell like my husband has, I haven't and the kids haven't spent the full amount of our £500. However, we've put the full £500 in the budget so that it doesn't look like we have that money available to spend next month, if that makes any sense. So it's been allocated as £500 actually spent, even though that money has been put into a separate account for us to still spend at a later date. So the fun money category, that £1,500, that's all gone. Moving on to our insurance category, and the only insurance that we had to pay this month was life insurance, and that was £46.62. So the total balance for that category was £0, which is perfect. Childcare, as I've mentioned in previous videos, we don't have childcare costs because our children are currently at home because of the whole lockdown situation. And moving forward, I don't think we're going to actually need any childcare costs because I'm not at work and because my children will be at school. We won't actually need to pay for childcare. Okay, so moving on to miscellaneous. I didn't allocate any money to the miscellaneous category, and we didn't have any miscellaneous expenses occur, which is fantastic. And then moving on to investment and savings. We didn't allocate any money last month or at the start of the month to investment and saving. All our excess money we allocated to singing funds and to building our emergency fund. So that's basically all of our budgeted expenses. So you can see that our account balance at the end of the month ended up being minus £11. Now that is the closest that I've ever seen to zero since we've been doing this whole zero-based budgeting method. So I'm really pleased that we were able to literally almost stick to budget by £11. So what this means now is that when I come to do our August budget, we're going to start with an opening balance of minus 11. But if you compare minus 11 here to the minus £300 that we started with at the start of the month, you can see that we've done a lot better in the month of July in terms of sticking to our budget. So I'm really pleased with our results this month. So that is literally it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my So that's literally it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed my July 2020 budget reconciliation video. I hope you found it interesting and insightful. If you do want to grab a copy of my budget tracker and my budget spreadsheet, then please just send me an email at info@tolufrimpong.com and I'll definitely send that across to you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.